Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be checking out the new features in version 2.0 for the SQ-64 Polyphonic Sequencer. This operating system is now available for download at Korg.com for free, of course, and we're going to go through features that are now included with the SQ-64, many of which are user requested. Perhaps the most instantaneous feature is that of the new panel brightness. We did get a lot of requests for a brighter panel when using USB power, which I'm using here. We have recalibrated the power over USB with the new operating system, and it is much brighter. To help illustrate that, I have another SQ-64 here that does not have the operating system update as of yet. Just put these right next to each other here, and we'll get the panel looking the same with the same gates. And you will see immediately that the LEDs are much brighter. To help illustrate that even further, we're just going to temporarily shut off the lights. The next new feature is drum pad mode. It's essentially a finger drumming mode where you have access to all 16 triggers at the same time. Originally, you would just go into the drum sub and you would be able to pick the part that you want to see, and then you would get those gate steps on there and you would trigger those and you would put those in and out to create your patterns. Now, much like with the keyboard mode where you press pitch and a melodic part to get a keyboard, with the drum mode, if you press pitch and D, you get into this cool drum pad mode. There's a new screen here that gives you indications of how they're laid out. I have here a kick, snare, closed hi-hat, and open hi-hat, which I can now play in real time. You also get to see the steps that are being used on each part. So right now, this is the kick part, and when I press play, I'll be able to follow along up to 64 steps with the 4 division buttons. So now with this new drum mode comes 4 different ways of looking at your information. This is the default mode, which works from the top left to the bottom right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 triggers. But if you go into the global mode, right here on B13, you have 4 drum pad views. So the first is what we're using, which is 4x4A. The second is 4x4B, and that's going to be an inversion of the parts. So now you see you're working from the bottom left to the top right, indicated on the screen. You still get your steps. You can see which parts you want to see, and you can still see the steps that are being used there. Once again, going into the global mode and going to the next. This is an interesting one. This is 16 plus velocity. Now when you go back in to the drum pad mode, your 16 triggers are arranged left to right, as you can see on the screen. And then there are 3 rows of them. So this is the highest velocity. This comes in at a velocity of 127. This comes in at a velocity of about 80. This comes in at a velocity of 32. And then once again, you have a view of the steps that are lit for a particular part that you left off on. Going back into the global mode one more time, going back to that trusty button, and here's the last one. It's a 8x2 view. So once again here, now you've got your triggers arranged in 2 rows of 8. So this is if you want to drum a little differently, if that layout is more comfortable for the way that you happen to finger drum, you can do this. The next feature is a new step record feature. Prior to this, you could go in step by step, set up a gate, put in a note, kind of like that. Or you can play real time using the keyboard. Now, you have a step record mode also. I'll go ahead and just, first of all, pick a scale that I want to work in. And then I'm going to go into the step record mode. It's very simple. You just press the record button. Instead of pressing play, you go ahead and repress the part that you want to step record. So here it is. You can see nothing has been recorded into this lane as of yet. So now as I start playing, it'll start tracking that. Want to go back and change a note, I could hold it and go there. If I want to create a rest, I can just press the record button and you'll see rest on the screen. Now, next up is a easier step copy function. Let's say that I did want to take the first portion of that and copy it over very easily. You would just press the button that you want, and then you would press the other button, and then you would press the shift button. And as you can see, now what it does is it has copied that. It's indicating the range that I've picked, the start and the end. And then all I have to do is press where I want it to go. Let's go to the next measure. And there you have it. Getting out of the step mode will let you see the steps that you've recorded. One last feature is this neat little double shift trick. You can latch the shift, so rather than hold this and go into all the different things that you can do when it comes to like reversing tracks or setting a play speed, you can just double click and that will be held for you, which makes this really interesting for live performance or just messing around without having to worry about holding down this button. You could do a bunch of stuff at different times. You can mute things out. You can basically take any of these things on the fly and you can just change them at will. When you're done doing what you've done, you could just press the shift button again and you are out. In addition to the features we've just covered, you'll also find a quantize feature in real-time record mode, loop mode behavior improvements, an improved step editing experience which supports additions and deletions of note information, and alongside that, numerous other improvements under the hood to make your SQ-64 experience even better and more powerful. Remember, you can download 2.0 for free right now at Korg.com. Thank you.